Radio Rahim here with Max Kellerman. Now, Max, obviously we're here for Manny Pacquiao and Juan Marquez 4. First of all, give me your thoughts on the first 3 fights. It was as much controversy as there's been. How did you score them?
I thought that, well, this is actually documented because HBO right now, we have a piece out on my analysis of the fights, but I thought Marquez won the first fight by 3 points. I thought after the first couple of rounds, he won just about every other round of the fight. So I had him wide on rounds, but with the 3 knockdowns in the first round, 3 on points. Second fight, I thought Pacquiao did a much better job of winning rounds from Marquez, not just blitzing him early. But I still thought Marquez won 7-5. You take off a point for the knockdown. It's a 1-point fight for Marquez. Third fight, I thought it was a draw. So really, I'm kind of agreeing with the judges in the sense that every time the judges think Pacquiao does a little better, and so do I. The difference is they started with a draw, and I started with a pretty decisive Marquez win. But I have it 2-0-1 Marquez, and the judges have it 2-0-1 Pacquiao, but we all agree that Pacquiao's doing a little better in every fight.
So with Juan's assertion that basically Pacquiao has kind of stolen his would-be life, he even wrote a book, I Beat Manny Pacquiao, you obviously think he's got a legitimate gripe. Do you think that Pacquiao...
But that's not the reason. Marquez, if he gets a decision against Pacquiao, he doesn't have Pacquiao's career. You know, Pacquiao is a more charismatic fighter because he's more of an attacking fighter. He's more of sort of a physical phenom. He's a more explosive puncher. So, of course, it helps Marquez if he wins. But I don't know by how much. I think Marquez has been a pretty big deal since the first Pacquiao fight, partly as a result of how he did against Pacquiao.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that Marquez can still beat elite fighters? He's obviously got Pacquiao's number, but after this fight, where does he go? Win, lose, or draw?
By the time a guy has been known as an elite fighter for a bunch of years, the kind of elite fighters that he can beat are usually the older so-called elite fighters. You know, when you think about pound for pound in the world right now, where guys are ranked, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez, until recently Miguel Cotto, were ranked at or near the top. But in fact, at this moment, who are the hardest fighters to beat? Probably Andre Ward, Nonito Donaire, Gennady Golovkin, right? The young, in their prime, top fighters, but those guys generally don't get fights against the older established fighters. So in terms of how much does Marquez have left, is he still elite? Of course you have to consider him elite still. He's competing against other older elite fighters, specifically Pacquiao. But in terms of where that division or that kind of weight area is going, at 135 pounds you have Adrian Broner. Right. At 160 pounds you have Gennady Golovkin. You know, at 168 to 75 Andre Ward. At 126 and at 22 and 6 you have Nonito Donaire, and those are the guys who going forward are going to be dominant.
Now, with all that said, both of these guys are claiming that they have something new,
a radio show to do,
something new to bring to the fight. Are they able to make an adjustment to significantly change what we've seen 3 times out already?
I think they've both adjusted. I think Pacquiao has consistently adjusted to Marquez's boxing and Marquez to Pacquiao's aggression, and I think actually probably the best thing for both of these guys is not to adjust so much to what the other guy is doing, to go back to what they do best, specifically Pacquiao, which is attack. You know, if you go in thinking I have to adjust because this guy's a good counterpuncher, you're already muting, you know, what you do.
Right.
And so I think that maybe the best adjustment they can make is to go back to doing what they do.
Very last question, Max. 50 Cent. He is bringing a new element into boxing. There's a ton more press here for him than there would have been if he weren't here.
Got to do the radio.
What do you think is what do you think is his? What do you think he's going to do?
I don't know. You know, he's been very successful at everything he's done. He's built up $100 million plus businesses in music, and then in vitamin water, right? And he has a couple other things cooking now. And yeah, well, that remains to be seen. But he's good at making a fortune in like every business he goes into. So, you know, I wouldn't doubt him in boxing.
Do your radio thing. Thanks so much for the time.
Right.
Radio Rahim with Max Kellerman.